Yeah, well, it's 9 o'clock.
All right, welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and call the Tuesday, May 21st, 2024 Commission meeting to order. We'll start with a moment of silent reflection for our first responders and members of the armed forces, followed by an invocation by Reverend Timothy Womack of the First Presbyterian Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by our County Attorney, Mr. DeBrawl. If everybody will please rise.
Almighty God, there are many ways to pray. There's simple mindfulness where we are mindful of the service of so many, our first responders and those in military service. We're mindful for the beauty of being able to live in such a great community. We're mindful of the gift of age and wisdom. We're mindful of daily bread and daily breath. But Almighty God, there's also intercession, and today we seek your intercession for wisdom as we govern, for leadership as we serve, and we pray that we would be bound by principle and never partisanship. And so we pray for our leaders. We pray for Commissioner Adams, Commissioner Fletcher, Commissioner Ehrman, Commissioner Lohr, and Commissioner Moss. We pray for all our employees out doing their work and service for our community, that we may be safe and live in comfort. We ask for their safety and well-being. Bless our county, bless our leadership, and allow us to continue to be able to count our blessings for being able to live in such a lovely, wonderful place in your kingdom. All this we pray in your name. Amen.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Commissioners, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? If not, Commissioner.
Madam Chair, move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And with that, we will move on to our proclamations and presentations. Our first is going to be a presentation of proclamation for Miss Marie Louise Dumar Ambrose for her Centennial recognition. This will be presented by Commissioner Moss.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate this opportunity. I'll read it first, and then you're welcome to say a few words should you choose. Proclamation, Marie Louise Dumar Ambrose Centennial Recognition. Whereas Marie Louise Dumar Ambrose was born on May 27, 1924, in Brooklyn, New York, and lived in both the Brooklyn Heights and Bay Ridge sections of Brooklyn. And whereas Louise decided to attend high school in Manhattan, and upon graduation finished her education at Butler Business School in Bridgeport, Connecticut. After graduation, Louise obtained a position in the payroll department of the General Electric Company, and within a few years was promoted to a supervisory position. And whereas Louise married Stephen Ambrose, a musician traveling across the country, playing saxophone and clarinet with the big bands in 1950. Shortly after, Louise and Steve settled down in Connecticut and spent 69 happy years together until Steve's passing a few years ago. And whereas Louise and Steve lived in Trumbull, Connecticut and Venice, Florida, Louise was a stay-at-home mom while their sons were young and had a successful second career in the accounting group at Fairfield University. And whereas when Steve passed away, Louise moved to Vero Beach to be near her son Stephen and his wife Victoria. Louise feels blessed that this has allowed her to participate in family events with her 5 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren, And whereas Louise resides at Renaissance Senior Living in Vero Beach, where she remains active in the arts, enjoys jewelry making, painting, and participating in religious services held in the chapel. Louise also enjoys the numerous music concerts available to Renaissance residents, especially when they include some of the big band tunes Steve used to play. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County, Florida, that Marie Louise Dumar Ambrose is congratulated on reaching her 100th birthday, and the board extends its sincere best wishes for many more happy years. Adopted this 21st day of May, 2024, Board of County Commissioners, Indian River County, Florida, and signed by all 5 commissioners. God bless and happy birthday. It's a pretty amazing thing. I know Renaissance is a lovely place. I was the mayor at the time it opened, and it was an honor to participate in the ribbon cutting, and I know it's set up in such a way that it helps people to have the best quality of life there and to be enjoyed. It's very homey. It's a very nice place. So God bless you. And any advice on turning 100? Would you like to say anything? You're welcome. And it's not obligatory. Please don't feel obligated. It's your birthday. You do whatever you wish. Okay. I'll come down to hand this.
Well, commissioners, since it is her birthday, do you think we should sing happy birthday?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Louise. Happy birthday to you.
You know why everybody got in local government? I didn't hear any AGT talent here.
Does any of the family want to say anything? You don't have to. We're not scary, though.
I'm Stephen, and I'd just like to say thank you so much for doing this. Mom has truly embraced Indian River County since she's been here. It's been a mere less than 3 years, and she has participated in a lot of activities here, and it's been so much fun for her. I think she's more active here than she was over in Sarasota County for many years, and so I thank you. This is a wonderful thing for you to do for a Centennial, and again, thanks again, okay?
Thank you. We're happy to have her.
Madam Chair, reading about Marie Louise's life and looking back, I was a New York City police officer in your jurisdiction, and I have to say that we've never crossed paths in the earlier days. And if you need a letter of recommendation for your future endeavor, I think I'm most qualified to be able to cover a lengthy period in your life experience, and I'd be honored to do that. Now, after that, I just want to say that we all enjoy big band music, and I'm excited that you were very much part of the big band era, big band music, and thank you for doing all the things that you're doing now. I think that's the answer of longevity, to continue to move forward. And we'd like to see a piece of the jewelry that she does. Does she have any with her?
It's usually all these beads. She likes the small hand, the movement of swinging.
Well, maybe we could see a picture of it, or next year at at the 101st, we can see the jewelry. Okay? Thank you and happy birthday.
Commissioner Ehrman?
Madam Chairman. Ms. Ambrose, I've got to see you numerous times, being that my wife was the executive director of where you live at Renaissance Senior Living, and I've got to talk to you a few times and talk to your family, and what a great person, what great people you are. It always amazed me, anytime I hear, because I'm a history buff, anytime I hear somebody reaches 100 or something like that, I just think of the things they've seen in the last 100 years. It's just absolutely amazing. So, but with that, we're glad you're here. We hope you have 100 more, and happy birthday to you. Thank you so very much.
She says thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much for being here.
We'll let y'all get on with your business.
Ah.
All right.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. All right. Our next proclamation is going to be a presentation of proclamation honoring Carol Bergeron on her retirement from Indian River County Board of County Commissioners Office of Management and Budget. You're obligated to come up to the podium, Carol. All right. It's my great pleasure to read this proclamation honoring Carol Bergeron on her retirement from Indian River County Board of County Commissioners, Office of Management and Budget. Whereas, Carol Bergeron retires from Indian River County Office of Management and Budget effective June 28, 2024. And whereas, Carol began her career with the Indian River County Clerk of the Circuit Court on April 18, 2005 as a juvenile court specialist in the felony department until her promotion on August 17, 2005 to an accounts payable 1 clerk in the finance department, and subsequent promotion on October 10, 2014 to an accounts payable 2 clerk. On April 1, 2015, Carol began her position as budget support specialist with the Indian River County Board of County Commissioners and remained in that position until her retirement. And whereas Carol has served this county and public with kindness, patience, diligence, and selflessness, providing patrons and fellow coworkers with valuable information and help they were seeking during her 19-year career in Indian River County. Her work was appreciated by her employers, citizens, and coworkers alike. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County, Florida, that the board applauds Carol's efforts on behalf of the county and wishes to express their appreciation for the dedicated service she has given to Indian River County. And be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners and staff extend heartfelt wishes for success in her future endeavors. Adopted this 21st day of May, 2024, and signed by myself. Carol,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know what we're going to do in the budget this year without you being a part of it. I see how you timed your retirement date. And I applaud that. Kristen might, but
Yeah.
good job. No, but seriously, you'll be missed. You've always kept us straight over in the commission office with all of our budgetary and reimbursements and things like that. And we greatly appreciate all your hard work and commitment. It's been an awesome 19 years. I'm sure you've seen a lot has changed, but we're definitely going to miss you. But I know you're going to be doing some fun stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm honestly a little bit jealous of that. And we're going to have to come up and see you in Maine, in the great Northeast.
Yeah, as long as there's a fishing hook and a boat, I'm happy. So I just want to say to my dad that I made it 55 years ago, almost today. He welcomed me into his business office at the bright bold age of 10, and I started counting money. So here I am all those years later. I always tell people I love money. I've had the honor to work for some pretty incredible people. Jeff Barton, with his humor, if anybody here has been in the office as long as me, you always heard Jeff come down on a Friday morning saying, choo, choo. And he had all the checks that he had, all the invoices he had looked at, and he was a great man. And then, of course, Jeff Smith, his incredible faith, really was an inspiration. we could say Diane Bernardo and do this, because that's her in the office. Girls! Jason Brown, he's not here today, but I already told him what I was gonna say. I realized immediately when I started working for Jason that he was very fiscally conservative. And we got along well because my parents were children of the Depression. So we were made to wash our hands, wipe our towels, and hang the paper towels to use again. So we were on the same page there. Kristen's very proud of her department, and as long as you work hard, she'll always be there to support you. It wasn't mentioned, but for years now, I've worked at Emergency Operation Center, and thank you, Dave, for the option to come back and volunteer after I retire. That's been like my gig. I love that. That's when I've been my happiest. Thank you, service members, for keeping us safe. It means a lot to me. And that's it.
I just want to say I've had the opportunity to work with Carol for 16 of those 19 years, and she is one of the most dedicated, kind employees we have, always willing to help anyone who needs it and walk them through any of the processes. The office certainly won't be the same without her, and we will miss her greatly, but obviously wish her and Chip the best through their retirement and their travels, and we will see each other again.
Yes. I have a baby to watch.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Carol, do you want to come get your proclamation, or you guys want to wait and do it together?
Sure.
It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll wait.
It's your retirement. Okay.
I'll wait.
All right, the next proclamation is going to be honoring James Chip Boyette on his retirement from Indian River County Board of County Commissioners, Public Works Engineering Division. And this will be presented by Commissioner Ehrman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. It's my honor to present this proclamation for a couple of reasons. First of all, I don't know, maybe Commissioner Fleischer can answer this, how many husband and wife duos we had retire at the same time, but this is happening with that. Did you hear me? Commissioner Fleischer, how many times has this happened? Husband and wife duo retiring together at the same time.
This is a first.
Is it?
This is a first. At least I can codify for 18 years. Yes, this is a first.
It keeps the honeydew list smaller if they retire at the same.
Oh, they got lists for each other.
Yeah,
That-
more manageable.
This is a tandem thing. It's beautiful.
All right, and the next thing I want to bring to your attention, it's very appropriate that our former commissioner and chairman is here, Commissioner O'Brien is here, because guess what, Commissioner Fleischer and Commissioner O'Brien? Chip and I grew up together.
Put my surprise face on.
Imagine that. It always happened when we had somebody that were here. It happens a lot when you're born and raised here, but it is my honor to read this about my friend Chip Boyette, and after that, I'll say a few more things about him. But proclamation honoring James Chip Boyette on his retirement from Indian River County Board of County Commissioners Public Works Engineering Division. Whereas James Chip Boyette retires from Indian River County Public Works Engineering Division effective July 24th, 2024. Whereas Chip began his career with Indian River County on April 12th, 1993 as an engineering technician 2. Chip was promoted to as project specialist in 2001 and promoted again to an engineering inspection supervisor in 2022, remaining in that position until his retirement after 31 years with the engineering division of Indian River County. He managed multiple small and large CEI projects from building new roads and sidewalks to bridge construction. He has led a team of 4 inspectors through the developer site inspection permitting process with his experience and extensive knowledge as an Indian River County native. And whereas over his tenure, Chip received many acknowledgments and commendations for his efforts, including the installation of the Round Island Park Observation Tower improvements, leading various hurricane debris removal teams, and the late 90s removal of derelict vessels known as the Genesee from the former defense training site known in the 1940s as the U.S. Naval Amphibious Training Base along South Beach, whereby 227,580 pounds of various types of debris was removed from the beach area, which include many different types of unexploded military ordnances. And whereas CHIP has served this county and Public Works with distinction and selflessness, providing patrons with valuable information and help they were seeking during his 31-year career at the Indian River County Public Works Engineering Division. His work is appreciated by his employer, citizens, and co-workers alike, and now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County, Florida, that the board applauds James Chip Boyett's efforts on behalf of the county, and the board wishes to express their appreciation for the dedicated service he has given Indian River County, and be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners and staff extend heartfelt wishes for success in his future endeavors, adopted this 21st day of May, 2024, and signed by our chairman, Commissioner Susan Adams. Well, Chip, congratulations. And like I said, Chip and I grew up together. We played Little League Baseball together. We played on the 12-year-old All-Star team together. I was the pitcher, he was the catcher. And we hunted together, we fished together. We did a lot of things together growing up all the way through high school. And after high school, you know, everybody went their different ways, but we still stayed in touch. And I would see him occasionally at job sites and see him around Stop and Talk, or when I was on the fire truck. And then when I became a commissioner, we kind of saw each other a lot more. I'd go over there and talk to him occasionally on a project, or just to see him for a few minutes when he had some time. But he's always been a dedicated worker, and he's one of those workers here in Indian River County that we're losing with institutional knowledge, that has such great institutional knowledge of what happened, why things were where they were, and where they were, and when they were. So, but with that, I know you and Carol are going to have a great time. She filled me in yesterday on your future plans, and sounds like you're going to be busier than you were working. So, but congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone. Just give me a minute. It's been a long time coming. It's been a pleasure to work in this county for all these years. It's been a great adventure. My little town is up and evaporated, though, that I grew up in, but it's okay. We'll manage with what we have. Like Joe said, we're both longtime natives here, have a lot of history. I will miss being here. I'm not leaving, just I'm going to become a snowbird, and I'm going to enjoy it thoroughly. So, and I would like to thank everyone that has been part of my existence in this county and allowed me to do all the things that I've been able to do. And thank you all.
Thank you, Chip.
Commissioners, thank you. Thank you, Chip, for your 31 years of service. I had the pleasure to be with you here for the last 6 years, and it's just a fraction of what you have done for this county. It's been a very pleasure to me working with you. You have been helpful in any moment on all these projects we did together, and I just want to say thank you very much.
Well, I need to let you know, this lady right here is an exceptional lady that you have that has taken over the Public Works reins. I have to be honest, she surprised me on a job site one morning. I was actually helping a young man unload steel off of a truck, and she pulled up and she just looked at me and she didn't say a word, but she knew I was involved in the job with what I was doing. Even though that's not exactly what I should have been doing, she let me be. She let me do my job. And it was a great relief. And she and I have an exceptional relationship. She'll come and ask me, she says, Chip, what about this? And I am able to distill my...
It's your day, Chip.
I know it is, dear, but look, these people need to know that it's all being left in great hands. She's been an exceptional boss.
Well, Chip, we know that we're in great hands, but we know that we've been in great hands. And I want to say thank you throughout the years. You know, something just came up about you're going to be a snowbird, and you know, both of you are retiring in tandem. You know, Carol was part of the process for funding, and you were part of the process for engineering many great things that happened here in Indian River County. So when you're down here, why don't you ride around and take a look at it and give us your thoughts on what was built and how it was funded. And you might be able to help us too, because she's going to volunteer over at the emergency services.
We're actually both gonna volunteer. We're already volunteering in a program that she's actually set me up with, so. Like I said, we're not, we're not disappearing whatsoever, so. We're on the CERT team.
CERT team, yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Like I say, I can't leave my home.
Thank you.
Come on, you two.
Sorry.
Thank you. Look at you. I know,
Don't look so excited, Carol. Congratulations, you two. All right. Our next proclamation is going to be designating May 18th through May 24th as National Safe Boating Week in Indian River County. This will be presented by Commissioner Flesher to the brigade, squadron, what is?
Flotilla 5-6.
Flotilla 5-6,
Of the
okay.
United States Coast Guard Auxiliary.
I knew there was an official title, the flotilla, I love that. All right, Commissioner Flesher.
Thank you, team, for being front and center in uniform, and thank you for all that you do. A little conversation earlier made me reflect back to one of the best spent part of my misspent youth in the 70s, going to the class that you all provide. And I
Great.
want to thank you. And I never owned a boat. It's my great, but I was prepared to, if I ever got the opportunity. With that, I'd like to present this proclamation designating May 18th through the May 24th as National Safe Boating Week in Indian River County. Whereas for millions of Americans, including those in Indian River County, boating continues to be a popular recreational activity. And whereas during National Safe Boating Week, the United States Coast Guard and its federal, state, and local safe boating partners encourage all boaters to explore and enjoy America's beautiful waters safely and responsibly. Whereas safe boating begins with preparation through the basic boating safety training on procedures and equipment, as well as outlining the planning and preparation. And whereas hundreds of people lose their life each year in boating-related accidents in the United States, and it is estimated that the vast majority of all boating-related accidents are caused solely by human error and poor judgment, and not by the boat, equipment, or environmental factors. Whereas a significant number of boaters whose lives were lost by drowning would still be alive today if they had worn their life jackets. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County, Florida, that we do hereby proclaim that the week of May 18th through May 24th, 2024, as National Safe Boating Week, with the renewal of a year-round effort to promote safe boating. And we urge all of those who are on the water to attend a safe boating class practice safe boating habits, and to wear a life jacket at all times while boating. Duly adopted this 21st day of May 2024, and it is signed by all 5 county commissioners. Team.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Flesher. So I'm Mark Cannon. I'm with the staff officer and a pilot with the Coast Guard Auxiliary Flotilla 5-6, one of the oldest Coast Guard auxiliary flotillas in Florida. Today with me are a few of our members. We total 67 members at this time. The auxiliary is a uniformed volunteer component of the Coast Guard, augmenting the active duty Coast Guard in all 11 Coast Guard mission areas except active law enforcement and active military. So we don't write tickets and they don't give us any weapons. While we routinely do missions supporting environmental issues, aids to navigation, law enforcement, search and rescue, and others both in the air and on the water, a top priority is promotion of recreational boating safety to save lives and property, as well as lessen the search and rescue burden of the Coast Guard, the auxiliary, and other supporting agencies such as FWC, the County Sheriff's Office, and other county and city and county first responders. To further that objective, we offer monthly boating safety classes that qualify successful students for the Florida State Safe Boating Card. We just had one last Saturday in Sebastian, and our next class is Saturday, 15 June, at the American Legion here in Vero Beach, Post 39, 1535, Old Dixie Highway, don't you know? And it's free for teens, and we certainly encourage teens to come out and participate in that class. We could also hold special classes for a number of teens if somebody's wanted to do that. We can put that together. Tom McCarty is our lead boating safety educator, and it would put anything together to help that. We also offer free courtesy vessel safety inspections to ensure that you have the legally required safety equipment on board. If one fails, there's no legal repercussions when with our inspection, as opposed to a Coast Guard, FWC, or other agency boardings and spot inspections. We simply offer recommendations on how you bring your vessel into compliance with the law. A couple of additional thoughts. Wear a comfortable life jacket when on the water. Last Friday was wear your life jacket to work day, so I'm sure you all wore your life jackets right to work last Friday. Carry a registered PLB, personal locator beacon. This is an example of one. This is my personal one that I carry with me all the time. In fact, I carry it in my backpack. But register the darn things. There's about, the statistics are overwhelming. It's like 90% of them, of the alerts that we get on these things are not registered. So we don't know who to call to make sure that it's a real alert and so forth. And of course, a lot of them are not real alerts. They're just false alarms. So ensure you have a functional registered marine radio on board your boat. Why do you want a marine radio? Well, if you just carry a cell phone and you call 911, who knows you have an emergency? Well, you and the 911 operator. But if you have a radio and come up on channel 16, which is the emergency channel, everybody around you who has a radio knows that you have an emergency and can come to your assistance, as well as the Coast Guard that's monitoring that frequency all the time with a big system all along the coast. But you also have to register that radio with the DSC function, an automated function, and so that we know that if it's an alert, whether or not it's a valid alert. Anyway, that's me. If you want more information, you can contact me, flymlb@yahoo.com. That's me, flymlb@yahoo.com. And we'll hook you up with a vessel safety check, boating safety class, whatever you need.
Fantastic. Commissioner Moss.
I'd just like to thank you publicly. I attended a Vero Beach City Council meeting last week, and they attended that also and made this same presentation. So thank you for expending all this time and effort to travel around the county raising awareness for boating safety. It's it's such an important issue, and I'm delighted to see you here today.
Thank you, Commissioner Moss.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
badges? Okay, most of the badges.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, here we go, suitable for framing. Thank you.
Oh, one more.
Wait, don't you
Got
have to
it?
get in the picture? Why don't you get in the picture? as well?
Okay. Here.
Let me take yours.
Yeah, we'll take one.
Yeah, I can take it.
Oh, we got it.
No, I can take it.
Can never have enough.
No, that was me.
Awesome, thank you, guys.
That's great.
Thank you so much. Of course, of course. Thank you for what you guys do. Thank you. Yes, totally. We should. All right. Our next proclamation is designating May 19th through the 25th, 2024 as National Travel and Tourism Week. This will also be presented by Commissioner Flesher. And I think there is a contingent of tourism folk on their way down. They have some kind of
Dick,
Three-quarters of my family's here.
swag.
yeah.
It
They're
looks
coming
like.
down. Well, thank you, Madam Chair. It is an honor to present this proclamation. I know that while I currently serve on the TDC, which we will be having a meeting tomorrow on the Tourist Development Council and a meeting with all of our great partners, you have done that for many years as well. And I'm sure you agree that it's one of the most rewarding assignments as we get to see our community partners. It's all about our community partners that make this place one of the highest visited locations in the Eastern Seaboard. And we do that without a theme park, without a huge attractor. The attractor is the people who make it happen. So, and the great lifestyle which we all enjoy as well. Well, thank you once again, and thank you for being here. Present the proclamation recognizing National Travel and Tourism Week, which is May 19th through 25th, 2024. Whereas the travel and tourism industry plays a critical role in Indian River County and the state of Florida and the nation's economic prosperity. Whereas a robust travel and tourism industry has provided significant economic benefit to the nation and generating more than $2.8 trillion in economic impact, with $121.5 billion spent directly in Florida by out-of-state travelers. Thank you all. Whereas the travel and tourism industry provides over 2 million jobs with the state of Florida and over 10,000 jobs in Indian River County, generating $16.3 billion in state and local taxes, with $655.5 million spent in our local businesses. You heard those numbers, folks. Whereas approximately 80% of all travel and tourism related businesses are small businesses, owners, and that have depended upon the community support through the visitors who contribute over $333 million per day to Florida's economy. And whereas the travel and tourism industry in Indian River County powers major infrastructure improvements such as beach renourishment, Jackie Robinson Sports Training Complex, regional sports, ecotourism, and special events throughout the year. Whereas Indian River County Chamber of Commerce, who is the official tourism arm of Indian River County, and Indian River County Board of County Commissioners, we have had a working relationship to promote tourism throughout the county for over 35 years. Whereas Indian River County Board of County Commissioners recognizes that the travel and tourism industry is crucial to powering our community as the essential economic driver to spur growth for local businesses. And whereas the travel and tourism industry is a necessary and prominent component of everyday life and should be supported and protected. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County, Florida, that the week of May 19th through 25th, 2024 is recognized as National Travel and Tourism Week in Indian River County, Florida, and encourages all citizens of the county to join in recognizing this critical role in the industry plays in our county and throughout the state of Florida. This is duly adopted the 21st day of May, 2024, and it is signed by all 5 county commissioners. Mr. Ben.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a short presentation to show, which kind of gives a little bit of overview of a little bit more numbers. And then I'm releasing some brand new stuff for the first time for you all today, since it is National Travel and Tourism Week. So again, I thank you very much for this. And I am Ben Ehrman, Vice President of Tourism and Marketing with the Indian River County Chamber of Commerce. So I just want to start by explaining to you what is a visitor and how do we get the numbers that we're getting. So a visitor is, you can go to the next one there. Someone who comes from over 50 miles of their common evening location. How is that recognized? From their cell phone registered location. So where are you placing your cell phone at night? And it's coming from 50 miles from that registered location. Stayed for more than 2 hours and visited at least one POI in the county, so at least one point of interest. And all of these numbers, just so you're aware of how this works, is they're from 2022. 2023 finishes obviously in December 31st, 2023. And us being 5 months into 2024, they're finishing those numbers for 2023. So we should be getting those very soon. So all of this is 2022, and visitor spending was up 10.5% in Indian River County compared to 2021, with an average visitor spending of $205. 44% of total visitor spending is at restaurants. So imagine your restaurants losing 44% of their sales. 36% is spent in retail. So imagine retailers, boutiques, things like that, losing 36% of their sales. And our local economic impact, 655.5 million in visitor spending in Indian River County, and that consists of restaurants, lodging, retails, transportation, entertainment, and recreation. And there are 10,001 jobs supported. So thank you to that one person who made it a 10,001. And this is for tourism and hospitality in industry. So hotels, anything in entertainment, anything that is tourism related. And your local taxes, this tourism tax, $1,840 is how much Florida residents save in taxes each year due to tourist tax. And $0 is how much Florida residents pay in state income tax. Thank you to our tourist tax. And we're one of only 9 states with no state income tax. So tourism matters, and those who are visiting are contributing to our area. And if you live here in the county, you are not paying tourism tax. You are paying tourism tax when you go and visit Orlando and those theme parks, but you are not paying that tax here in this area. You're saving money. And so then I wanted to show some brief advertisements that we do, because you all don't live in Canada and you don't live in Georgia or North Carolina or the New England area where we're promoting our destination. And it should be noted that all of these things are done in-house. We do all design work in-house, and then we distribute it out. So between myself and Krista Hoyt here, who is our tourism communications manager, she's fantastic. It's just the 2 of us here on this team, plus our amazing team that we have at the Chamber of Commerce. We design all of these stuff and then distribute it and then monitor it and how it all does. So these are images. Some of these are digital, so these are clickable ads, but for the purposes of today, just showing you some images here that we have designed in-house that have been distributed through the year so far. And our next one here, This is a brand new video just released this week, today, actually, for you all. It's a full 90-second video here. We have different versions of this, and this covers all of Indian River County. So we have multiple versions of that where we have 15 seconds, 30 seconds, different places that we're covering. That's our full 90-second version there for you. That's the first time that was shown. So thank you all very much. Thank you again to our Chamber Board of Directors, Krista, Dory Stone, our amazing Chamber President. Fantastic staff that we have. Thank you to you all for your support of tourism and all our amazing tourism partners that we have in this area. I do want to mention that with this being National Travel and Tourism Week, we have some great things going on our social media this week. So check that out on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Some great giveaways that we've partnered with some of our amazing tourism partners in this area, and release of more videos and more new creative that we've done that we chose to put out this week to represent National Travel and Tourism Week. Our updated visitors guide will be coming soon. We have, just so you know, an increase in all of our advertising, our writing, promotional TV content has all gone way up. There's been a lot more notice in Indian River County. All of our social media has increased by at least 2,000 followers just within the past few months. So everything is doing really, really well. Krista is amazing at our writing, our social media, and keeping up with that. So if you're not following us on any of those, follow us. We're always posting events, things to do in the area, promoting the area. So thank you all very much. I also have, for the first time today, you're getting these for the first time, brand new Visit Indian River swag. So you got a cooler, holds a 6-pack. Brand new koozies. They say chill and inspire, because you can drink and chill, or you can be inspired. Cup, it's hot and cold insulated, and a beach towel, Visit Indian River County, and a great pen. So I expect to see everyone using that there. So this is for you all. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
We'll promote proudly.
This down here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
the Director of Chamber of Commerce. Proudly watching.
Yes. All right, commissioners. Next. Yeah. We'll take just a quick 5-minute break. Go ahead and call the meeting back to order. Commissioners, the next item is approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of April 9th and the regular meeting of April 23rd.
Madam Chair, move approval of both.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. There is no informational items, so we'll move on to consent. Commissioners, anybody wishing to pull anything from consent?
Madam Chair, 8G.
8G? All right. Anybody from the public wishing to pull anything from consent? Seeing none? Commissioners?
Madam Chair, move approval as amended.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 8G, Commissioner Lohr.
Yes, Madam Chair, this was simply a question on the process with this being under consent, and I spoke briefly with the administrator yesterday. Is it a typical process that we would get involved with a state of Florida agency as a board to vote on increases in their fees?
That is a good question, and I see Julianne coming down. Maybe can answer that, or
County Attorney.
or the county attorney.
Maybe it is. This hasn't been done since 2018, and I think Commissioner Fletcher is the only one familiar with it.
These are county fees, not state fees, so that's why we're coming before the Board of County Commission. So it's just an increase in county fees. So that's why it's coming before you.
And are the county fees universal throughout the state, or?
No, no, sir. In fact, we did an analysis of surrounding counties and counties in similar size and what they were charging for county fees, and we were on the low end. And since we hadn't done an analysis in 5 years, our staff costs have increased over 30%. Each permit, 3 or 4 different people have to touch. The gas prices are going up, I mean, every cost associated with the items on there has gone up exponentially in a 5-year period. So we're pulling from general revenue to cover all these fees, and it's just not sustainable. So the analysis combined with that we have not done a county fee raise in 5 years is what we're asking for today.
Administrator, is this a typical process that we would, or would this be under different matters?
I'm sorry, say that again, sir?
Would this be under consent typically, or would it be under other matters?
At this point, I'm not sure it makes a difference because it was pulled, but it's, so I mean, I think you're discussing it, so it's, in the future, if you would like, we could include it under other matters, just, or under the administrator matters, you know, based on working with the health department.
Okay, I was just curious about the process.
Yeah.
Motion approved.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. All right, there are no constitutional officers or governmental agencies, so we'll move on to public items. The first item is a public hearing on the local option gas tax distribution percentages. Are you doing this, Kirsten? You had just gotten settled back in your office, didn't you?
Yeah. Good morning, Commissioners. Kirsten Leindecker, Acting Public Works Director. I have before you today the local option gas distribution percentages. By Chapter 209 of the Indian River County Code, every 2 years, the Board of County Commissioner needs to conduct a public hearing to approve a revenue distribution formula for the 6-cent local option gas tax. This tax revenue is currently shared with the 5 municipalities, Indian River County, Vero Beach, Fellsmere, Orchid, and Indian River Shores, and it is based on the following formula. And I will read that. I don't know if I can do a good job on that, so I will read that. The percentage of total revenue allocated to each eligible entity equals 1/3 of the entity's percentage of total equivalent lane miles of road plus 1/3 of the entity's percentage of transportation expenditures over the previous 5 years plus 1/3 of the entity's total percentage of population residing in the area based upon the most recent estimate from the Florida Bureau of Economic and Business Research. This formula has been used for the last 37 years, hasn't been changed as far as I know. And the 2024 updated table for computation of the local option gas tax distribution percentages will be sent to the Florida Department of Revenue for implementation by September 1, 2024. So therefore, staff recommends approval of the 2024-2025 revenue distribution percentages. Any questions?
All right, are there any questions of staff? If not, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners?
Motion approved.
We have a motion and a second. Yes.
Just a comment, there was, at no time was there any discussion about raising the gas tax, and I want to do that in deference to our longtime friend, who's no longer with us, Bob Johnson, who raised it each and every time. I think Commissioner O'Brien could agree that it was duly noted. Thank you.
All right. There is a motion by Commissioner Laura with a second by Commissioner Flesher. There's no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. Next item is public discussion items. The first request to speak is from Kay Vanderbogart. She's not here. All right, if she comes back in, we'll circle back around. Then our next request to speak is from Dr. Miles Conway with the South Beach Property Owners Association.
All right, can you?
Good morning, Dr. Conway.
Good morning. Can you get him down here? This is what we did yesterday. We're projecting out to you. I'll get the overhead sorted out.
Is that?
Okay.
Do you have a PowerPoint, Dr. Conway?
Yes, we do. And we tested it yesterday morning, Madam Chair, and it all worked fine. Can we get him down here again? Madam Chair, why
Is
don't you
somebody
move on
coming
and
to
then
fix-
from IT can come down and sort it.
Okay, so we will circle back around to you then, Dr.
Thank you.
Conway. With that, we'll move on to county administrators matters, information technology acceptable use policy revision.
Madam Chair, members of the board, in the recent enactment of Florida Statute 282.3185 regarding local government cybersecurity requires local governments to adopt cybersecurity standards to safeguard data, information technology, and resources to ensure availability, confidentiality, and integrity. These standards must be consistent with best practices, including NIST, or the National Institute of Standards and Technology and Cybersecurity Framework. So what is happening, we have every county with a population of 75,000 or more, we must adopt our cybersecurity standards required by the statute, and then notify the Florida Digital Service regarding the same. We did have, if you recall, we did have individual meetings with each of you, with our former information technology director, myself, and we updated you. These policies reflect an alignment with those cybersecurity framework standards that are in place, And so with that, staff would recommend the board approve the revision of the acceptable use policy as amended, AM 1200.21, and replace the existing acceptable use policy in the infamous APM, Administrative Policy Manual.
Commissioners, questions, comments, concerns?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
for the administrator, I do have one question on, a lot of agencies have statement of acknowledgements when a policy is this important, or any policy. So the question is, how are we going to confirm that our employees acknowledge this policy, which is heavy as it is?
It will be, we will make sure that it's recognized in one, they get it, all new employees get onboarding and they can receive this policy, and all existing employees will receive a copy of the new acceptable use policy.
Okay.
And we can do it by email and request a read receipt for the purposes, or have everybody sign off working with the department directors.
Right, 'cause I believe there's some employees that don't have that email access.
Correct, and generally, they probably don't have computer access, but we will still make sure that working through the department heads, that we will disseminate and ensure all employees get this and sign off.
Okay.
That's a great question. Other comments, commissioners? Anybody from the public?
Move approval.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Lohr with a second by Commissioner Fletcher. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. All right, are we back in working order over here? Fantastic. All right, Dr. Conway, you're back up.
Powered by IT.
Is this something you can do without the PowerPoint, or do we need to reschedule for another meeting?
It'd be extremely difficult without.
Okay,
Your handout's in black and white, and that's the color version of it. So
okay.
it worked yesterday morning. We were here, and we had a dress rehearsal, and it worked fine.
Okay, well, oh, there you go. All right, perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Crisis averted.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. The purpose of my request and our association request was to provide you with some due diligence assistance in the hiring of the next county attorney. When one is sitting in a Mallorca, Spain hospital after a cycling injury and watching the tape of the last meeting where you were hiring a external firm, and the sheriff's complexion changing when the lawsuit on the Sanderling to settle the lawsuit for $33,000 or whatever it was, and then the sheriff indicating that one of the prerequisites for the next candidate for county attorney should have collective bargaining experience. We had our whole laundry list of items as well to include. So what our resources in the South Beach Property Owner Association, consisting of the medical profession, the economics profession, the Fortune 100 profession, and also the academic profession, who have gone through this process of selecting county attorneys and other staff functions, decided that what we wanted to do was prepare a dossier for you and make it part of the public domain to assist. You can use the information, you can ignore the information, but we thought it was in the best interest, being that we're all heavy taxpayers, and that this position being a line staff position, not a staff position, not a line position, and this position, putting the wrong person in this position, is a dangerous perspective is quite a dangerous option, an expensive option that we as the taxpayers will shoulder. So what we've done is, as I said, we've prepared this due diligence dossier for you. You can use it, you can discard it, whatever you wanted to do, but it's in the public domain and is now available to you. And Madam Chair, in that context, we need your assistance to start off with on Exhibit 1. Exhibit 1 is your 2022 organizational chart that was on the website. And what you had there is you had the various different bodies that were reporting, from what I understand. I just need clarification on this. You had the clerk of court, you had the sheriff, supervisor of elections, and then the board of county commissioners with the county administrator and the county attorney. And based upon private sector interpretation of this, it appears that the county administrator, the county attorneys report to the board of county commissioners, and those various other elected officials are reporting to the residents of Indian River County. Is that a correct interpretation of this organizational chart? It is, okay. Could you then reconcile?
Dr. Conway, this is not like a back and forth. You're here to present your information.
Yeah, well, I just need clarification, okay? The next item is your organizational chart from 2023. And it appears to be the same, but there is no line leading up to the residents of Indian River County. Does that mean that all of these functions now no longer report to the residents of Indian River County?
Is that a serious question?
Well, I'm asking you, I'm just asking you to interpret.
Dr. Conway, listen, I know you're here to try to give us information and input, and I greatly appreciate that. But we're not going to get into the minutia and the weeds of whether there's a line missing or not. The residents are listed above everybody else. It's very clear to anybody whether there's a line there or not, that's the same. So let's get to the bulk of your presentation, because I'm trying to be generous in giving you the time that you need, so we don't have to reschedule, but I need you to stay succinct in your comments and get to the point.
Well, it's just a question, Madam Chair.
Okay.
It's just a clarification question, all right? Okay, so moving on to the substance of this. Okay. Exhibit number 3. This is a posting that was put onto the county website on 5/17/24, last Friday. And the salary information that is provided is $190,000 to $220,000, and it's my understanding that this position is now closing on 6/24/24. The information that we're providing to you on Exhibit 4 is part of what was discussed the last time, is where does that salary level land up in terms of an hourly per rate, or how does that salary compare to other attorneys in different states, etc. So if you have to have a look on this schedule, in Florida, the average hourly rate charged by a sole practitioner or by a firm is $303. The salary proposed for the potential candidate, if you take $190,000 and divide it by 2,080 hours per year, that works out to $91 an hour or $96 an hour at the high end. So if a candidate comes before you, when you get your list from the search agency, if a candidate comes that's been in private practice charging $303 an hour, that candidate is effectively taking a 215% decrease in salary. So that's something to consider, if some questions to ask about that candidate. The next issue that was raised at that last hearing on Exhibit 5 was cost of living adjustments in terms of annual salaries. And if you would have a look in the different areas, and I can blow this up a little bit, Madam Chair, if this will help a little bit more, is that the $200,000 range that is proposed for this position, with the cost of living adjustment, because this was raised at the last issue, is comparable to Silicon Valley attorneys. And this gives you a cost of living adjustment, and in fact, what this schedule is now showing for you is the average medium wage of an attorney in Silicon Valley compared to this position is quite comparable. Moving on to, excuse me. Sorry, man, I'm just having a little bit of difficulty with this here. The other, in terms of evaluating the quality of the candidate that comes before you, is that at the 208 or the 200,000 salary range, that would translate to $100 per hour, and that would be in the 75th percentile. So the candidate that you would consider would have to be in the 73% of the quality range to justify that salary. Now, one also has to consider this from a holistic standpoint of view, because I don't believe it is just adequate to be able to look at the salary range of the potential candidate without considering what is the total amount that this department has been expended in terms of legal expenses. So from the year 2013 to 2023, mid-2023, expenditure by this county to external attorneys came to $8.6 million, and that was mid-2023. And in fact, you can fill in the blanks, Mr. Takanish can fill in the blanks, and that would be probably in the range of $9 million. So that also just needs to be factored in terms of what expenditure is going to be lodged, whether the quality of the candidate that comes in here is able to actually go into court and represent this county without the hiring of external attorneys. Because the 200,000 from this schedule is the tip of the iceberg. The next item in Schedule 8 is to have a look at the entire, from a holistic standpoint of view, as to what this generates from the entire legal department. That's deputy, assistant, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the purpose that this has been provided is to give you a comparison against a candidate that we're recommending, which is a gold standard candidate, and how that candidate is what we would refer to as the template. And I'll get straight to it, Madam Chairman. If you have to go to Exhibit Exhibit 18, here is a resume of a county attorney that's been in the business now for nearly 15 to 20 years as a county attorney. And here are his credentials. He's a county attorney. He was in private law practice for at least 15 years. He was a special counsel. He was an executive director and of counsel. He was a staff director of the Center of Government Responsibility. He was a graduate, made the Dean's List in economics in 1971. He was president of his fraternity. He was the Law Review Board, and he was admitted to the State Bar in 1974. There is a comparison or a common theme with the previous occupant of Indian River County, the county attorney, and that the previous county attorney was born in 1974 when this candidate was actually started practicing as an attorney. That's where the two ended. He has received numerous awards, and most importantly, this resume goes on 10 pages of publications and public speakers. And you have it all in front of you. And we can provide, if there's any interest, further interest, we will provide his resume and his identity. In subsequent reschedules, we'd like to come back and present our other two, number 2 and number 3 candidate.
Dr. Conway, my suggestion is to have your candidates apply for the position. That's the process.
Yeah.
And then we will go through that
Yeah.
process, but we're
Yeah.
not interviewing candidates or taking applications through the
Yeah.
public discussion item
Yeah.
agenda. That's not
Yeah.
what this is for, but I do appreciate you providing us with this input and the information.
Yeah.
And I would suggest any candidates that you guys would like to see,
Yeah.
to have them apply.
Yeah, all right. Well, Madam Chair, and I'll end this now because I can see that where this is going over here. I think you want me off this podium as quickly as possible, and I'll take it in the spirit that's been provided. So let me just give you a perspective from a Fortune 100 consultant that's been in this business now for 30 years. You are going after a position in the $200,000 category. That is a gold standard position. In my experience, hiring both at the University of Miami over 100 attorneys, reporting to the president of that university and reporting to the dean, which you have in your schedule, the ideal candidate that you go for are not candidates that are looking for jobs and applying for jobs. The gold standard, and this happens in Wall Street, Silicon Valley, Silicon Forest, Maiden's Wharf, everywhere. The top candidates are the candidates that are not looking for a position that you go out and you recruit. So we have a fundamental difference in how you're approaching this. If you think you're going to get a gold standard a person over here that's looking for a job with a history, you're going to get what you got the last time, which was substandard mediocrity that cost the taxpayer, namely me, nearly close to $10 million. So when you want to change your direction on this, based upon the medical profession that we have on our board, the Fortune 100 executives, the hedge fund lawyers, etc., that know that gold standard candidates are not those that are in the market for a job, that have to be properly recruited, then we can come and talk. So what I will do is I won't take up any more of your time, but reflect on it because you've got that information there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Conway.
Yeah, thank you. Neophytes.
All right.
Yeah.
With that, we'll move on to 12E1, anchoring limitation area update.
Thank you.
Okay, good morning. Melissa Meisenberg, Natural Resources, Senior Lagoon Environmental Specialist. I'm here to give another update about the anchoring limitations with Interlocal Agreement Option 3. But before I begin, I feel it's important to let you know that the City of Vero Beach has requested that we table the topic in discussion for today, as they have not had an opportunity to review ILA Option 3, so we wanted to present that to the board first.
Okay, well,
I
mean, I don't see why we can't discuss it.
Sure,
I
absolutely.
would also
It's
add
on the
that
agenda. Go
they
ahead.
received this last Monday,
Okay.
the option 3.
I'm ready to present. We just wanted to do, oh no, that's.
Is that yours?
Yes.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, no, I appreciate you letting us know.
Okay, perfect. Well, we'll go ahead and move forward then. Okay, so we did present this information to the municipalities on May 13th. And as directed by the board when we brought the two previous options, we were directed to sort of merge those options together into an option 3 that would really sort of make a cohesive effort into implementing this ALA. So the merging of those ILA option 1 and 2 would require us to hire a consultant, which we brought previously, that would allow us to work together with the municipalities and the consultant on the permitting and coordination of the installation of the ALA. In this case, we would still have the municipalities being the permit holders for under DEP, Army Corps, and the U.S. Coast Guard, but the county would be the permit holder per the statute with FWC. We would also work with the consultant to create the bid package and move forward with hiring the contractor who was the award of bid. And there would be some construction oversight by the consultant, so the municipalities didn't have to worry about being on site and handling all construction efforts. After initial installation, the municipalities would then be responsible for the ongoing maintenance and also monitoring of that site, as they are responsible also for enforcement. While they're there enforcing, they would be able to see which buoys were damaged or which pilings were damaged and needed repair. Under ILA option 3, the municipalities would reimburse the county 100% of their respective costs associated with the expenses for the consultant, the permitting, bid, installation, and all of the construction for those piling, signs, and buoys, as well as the mobilization of materials within their jurisdictional boundaries. In the event that the municipality failed to reimburse the county in a timely manner, we could modify that ALA ordinance, removing that particular area out of the ALA. And also, they are responsible for all monitoring, so if they fail to monitor or enforce that ALA, the county would reserve the right to amend the ALA ordinance as well, and the permit to exclude the area. ILA option 3 would require approximately $42,000 to $75,000 for the consultant, in addition to the $213,000 to $254,000 for the construction. But a significant portion of that would be reimbursed back to the county by the participating municipalities under ILA option 3. And the funds to initially cover that cost would come from the Florida Boating Fund, Lagoon, and other contractual services account. So currently, staff is seeking approval from the Board of County Commissioners to move forward with establishing the ALA under ILA option 3. We did receive word back from 2 of the municipalities regarding this option. The town of Indian River Shores had no objection. I believe there were some concerns with the city of Sebastian over the ongoing maintenance and oversight of the area within their jurisdictional boundaries.
Madam Chair, could I add, one of the original options, if you recall, was the county, since it's a goal of our Indian River Lagoon Management Plan, was to partner with the municipalities. I would add, in addition to the staff, as Melissa has presented, from at least from county administration standpoint, from my standpoint, I would still support, the 50% partnership because it's coming out of the Florida Boating Improvement funds, and they are available. So I would still support that it says reimburse 100%, but I would support the 50% reimbursement for those costs. Just putting that out there because that's what we originally discussed, when we talked to them and we found a funding source that was not general fund.
Okay.
Right, Madam Chair, if I can add that when the administrator says he would support the 50%, please know that these dollars are not tax-paying dollars. These dollars are dollars when you register your vessel, you renew your vessel registration. So I can go with the 50% as well.
Okay.
What about the survey? Should the survey need to be done?
So, and I think Melissa.
What about the survey? If the survey
expand on it, but I'm fairly certain that the permitting agencies are going to require a survey because in order to update navigational maps and things of that nature, they will have to be appropriately marked and therefore people will know. And with regards to the issue raised by City of Sebastian, it was more so the resources to be able to monitor and maintain. And I did respond to the city manager that we felt that as long as you're doing enforcement, you'd be able to know, to Melissa's point, whether or not there was a sign or a buoy or something that was not, had been damaged or whatever the case might be. So, but yeah, I do believe that the permitting agencies are going to require that because with the ICW, they're going to want to know what's out there.
That's what I was thinking at the beginning. As y'all remember, I was the lone no vote on this at the last meeting with regards to this because I thought we should do option 2 is what the cities all wanted. It required different things to be done, which I thought were important, which was a survey. But when I look at option 3, and I've discussed it with a few things, I spoke with the Sebastian city manager, spoke with him. I think I spoke with a couple others. with regards to this. I mean, this is an important thing we do for the lagoon. I think Commissioner Laurie even mentioned that. This is an important thing we need to do. It helps in every aspect of the lagoon, and it helps the cities. But I'm good with option 3. I mean, I thought we should take the lead on it, and we kind of still do on this, because whether or not, you know, the cities don't have the Division of Natural Resources, Lagoon Division, where we can work on some of this. Not that we have that much time or that much more staff, but I think we have the expertise with people like Melissa and others in that know with regards to this, and the fact that they're working with the cities in this option, I think, is a good thing. The cities can be involved in it, and I just want to make sure that everybody lives, to make this successful, I want to make sure that everybody lives up to the expectations. But yeah, I'm okay with what's been done, and I'm okay with option 3. So anybody else? But I don't know how you want to handle the City of Vero Beach thing. I don't know, maybe we can still vote on it and see what they say. I don't know.
Well, I think that, yeah, we need to move forward one way or another, so.
I mean, it's very similar to what the other plan was, and they were apparently for the option 2. So, I mean, it's very similar. I don't know, really, there was not a whole lot's changed other than some wording and the fact that they would be responsible for enforcement after everything's done and all that sort of stuff, and be responsible for replacement if something's damaged. I mean, but getting the plan set and in place is the same as it was in option 2, and the money's the same, the funding's the same. Just the survey wasn't there, but I do agree with the county administrator, and plus I think it's important to have a survey, so I think it's kind of where we're at, so.
Okay. Commissioner Moss?
Do we know if that was a concern of Vero Beach, the 50-50 cost sharing? Because now, if I'm hearing it correctly, we are agreeing that we will, the county.
It was the county, it was my original recommendation, as we discussed this with staff, and I mentioned it with the city managers way back when, that we would share in the project, because it is again, this is a goal of our Indian River Lagoon Management Plan. It cleans up the waterways, provides, you know, opportunity, and we just felt in the interest of intergovernmental relations that it was appropriate to partner in this project. And so I would still stand on that we receive Florida boating funds, and we could allocate 50% towards the project.
Okay, because that was not in option 2, the 50-50.
It was option 1, what we originally posed.
Right.
And then they wanted to do 100%, but they wanted the county to take everything. We're doing option 3, but I would still submit that, you know, they're going to have some responsibility going forward. So at the outset, that's why I'm agreeing. I would recommend or suggest that we do the 50%.
So we would be amending then option 3 to include a 50-50 cost sharing.
That's
with the
my
municipalities.
recommendation, yes.
That's your recommendation. I think that's a good recommendation. I know that was a concern of Sebastian. I don't know if that was a concern of Vero Beach, but it certainly could be. I had one other question, and that was Commissioner O'Brien made a good point at the last meeting when he mentioned the 45 consecutive days should be 45 cumulative days, because otherwise you can have somebody just, you know, moving on the 44th day for a day. Are we taking that into consideration?
Actually, Kathy and I have already had conversations about that. I think we'll be following up, because we do think those are some really excellent recommendations and to see what the appetite with the legislature is, because again, this was, you know, the requirement for 45 days is nested in the statute. Arrested, sorry.
Okay. So I think then in option 3, if it's amended to include a 50-50 cost share, as the county administrator is suggesting, is a good option. Unless you want to table it until we know exactly what Vero Beach is thinking.
I personally don't want to table it. That's why we're discussing it. I mean, it's our program and our initiative. I know they're partnering, but if we're going to drive the boat, we got to make the decisions.
First and foremost, when we were discussing this, I think we coined it 1.5. And I want to say the staff did a a very good job of hearing what the concerns were and moving it into that zone. Again, you're bringing up the 50/50. I wanted to ask the county administrator, I realize that the funds will be available, people will license boats, they will register. Is that guaranteed?
We have those funds now to participate in this, yes.
Is it guaranteed that we can move them and utilize them?
Yes.
I don't want to see the yellow flag go up.
No.
6 months from now.
I spoke with,
You guys can't do that. You
no,
can't
I spoke with
utilize that money
OMB
for this purpose.
at the outset of conversations on how the county could participate in this before I discussed it and presented it, not just today, but going back several months.
Well, staff did a wonderful job, and I agree with Commissioner O'Brien's recommendation on the 45 days. Why would not that be understood today, so as opposed to revisit it up the road? Why don't we just?
It's a statutory issue.
The statute lays out that it has to be 45 consecutive days. So if we want to do 45 cumulative days, we'd have to seek a legislative change.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So the best we can do right now is 45 consecutive,
And then lobby and
and
advocate
then lobby
for
from
this
there. And I,
change. Excellent points.
That, we're not trying to approve something that may be subject to change. It can be changed.
If it was changed, we would just have to update the signs.
perfect. Okay, Commissioner Moss.
I would then move to approve the amended option 3, and that includes the 50/50 cost sharing.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Anybody from the public? Seeing none. Any more discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you, members of the board. Thank you, Melissa.
All right, the next item is 12H1, waiver of development application and inspection fees for affordable housing projects. And I'm very excited about this item. Yay!
Good morning, Commissioners. Andy Sapchak, Planning and Development Services Director. And what we have for you today is a waiver of development application and inspection fees for affordable housing projects. So affordable housing, it's a word that we hear quite a bit these days. How is it defined? It's defined in a couple different ways. The one we look at mainly is through statute, which says you really can't spend more than 30% of your income on housing. If it's through a mortgage, that includes taxes and insurance. And it's also based on the AMI, or the area median income, which in our case is $67,500. So really 30% of that, and you can back yourself into kind of a price, which is around $250,000. So at the current point, that's what we would consider an affordable house. So on the planning side of things, our initial phases where we kind of look at conceptual projects are free. So really there's not any change there. That's already a free service that we offer. And what are the fees? So each subdivision is kind of different. There's not a one-size-fits-all, but you can get through this process for in the realm of $20,000 if we consider all of the fees that are incurred. That would be obviously a smaller project. And then, so what are some of the other incentives available for affordable housing? We have a waiver of impact fees for 1,500 square foot and under houses, so long as the person who's building or buying that house is no higher than 80% of that AMI. We also have a fast tracking process where we can move affordable housing projects through at a quicker pace, but we're still looking for more incentives because we're still struggling to get folks, to get the private developers to want to build the affordable housing. So this would be yet another tool we could use where we could kind of waive all of those inspection and application fees to help that developer save money so long as they're providing us a certain number of affordable units in that development. So staff's recommendation is that the Board of County Commissioners grant the authority for both the Planning and Development Services Director and the Public Works Director to waive their respective development application or inspection fees for affordable housing projects by adopting the fee resolution. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Thank you. Commissioners, are there any questions?
Move approval.
Second. All right, there is a motion and a second. Sorry, I stole it from you. I'm very excited about this. We've been doing a lot of work on adding incentives. Kudos to Chris and Andy for bringing a lot of stuff forward. I think it's going to be a good year for affordable housing. There's some great ideas out there, and the AHAC committee's been doing a lot of good work there. So thank you to everybody. This is hopefully the first of many affordable housing policies that we'll put in place. But with that, there is a motion and a second. There's no further discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Guys. All right. County Attorney's Matters. Service agreement with Southeast Florida Behavioral Network for administration of opioid class action lawsuit settlement fund allocation. That is a mouthful.
Yes, it is. Good morning, Commissioners. Bill DeBrawl on behalf of the County Attorney's Office. What we have here today is a service agreement with Southeast Florida Behavioral Health Network for the opioid class action suit proceeds. Indian River County is considered a small county underneath, as far as the settlement is concerned. So therefore, we have to contract with an approved provider to distribute the funds. Southeast Florida is approved by the Department of Children and Family Services, who is the overseeing agency for the distribution of the funds. The service agreement just calls for us to forward information to Southeast. Southeast will go ahead and then remit payments. This amount that the county will receive is $1,841,140 for this fiscal year. It can be rolled over for additional years. It's split up into two parts. $825,000 will go to the core services, the coordinated opioid recovery. That's the hospitals, first responders, Narcan, things like that. The other part of it is the $1 million plus that will go to the organizations that I've listed there. Just ask that the board go ahead and approve the agreement with Southeast. They will go ahead and sign it and provide us with the original copies. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, are there any questions of the county attorney?
Madam Chair, I'd just like to add that the participating agencies will be dealing with Southeast. Southeast will be invoicing them and keeping all records clean for us. So the county is not distributing these dollars, Southeast is.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make motion to approve council's recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Anybody from the public? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. All right. With that, we'll move on to the approval of license to occupy and improve county property located at 1235, 1239, and 1247 16th Street.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. As you can see in the aerial photo attached to the agenda item, the county owns a strip of right-of-way along 16th Street within the city limits of the city of Vero Beach. Somehow back in the 70s, this was dedicated to the county via a right-of-way map, as best as we can determine with the good help of the county surveyor, David Scriver. Traditionally, we have allowed those three businesses that are listed in the agenda item to use that for parking. Recently, the whole area has been resurfaced, restriped. Everything looks very good. One of the property owners in there is in need of this agreement so that their lender will go ahead and close on a loan. So we're just asking that you treat this license to occupy and improve county property, not only for Orca that's listed here, but also the other two property owners, Fallman Investments and Indian River Clay. and allow us to go ahead and execute this agreement on behalf of all three folks. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
So just to clarify, this is basically codifying what has been going on there as a use for like ever and a day that I can recall.
As far back as the old WTTBWGYL days.
That's
and
what I thought,
That is, oh, that dates us.
All right, any questions? Commissioner? All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Ehrman. Second by Commissioner Moss. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you,
All right.
Commissioners.
Commissioners, if it is okay with you guys, what I would like to do is we'll go through all the SWID stuff, but we'll hold 15B5 to the end. So we'll take 15B6 ahead of that, then take a brief break, then we'll get into 15B5. Does that work for everybody? All right. So with that, we'll move on to 15B1, approval of SWID special call meeting minutes of March 20th. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 15B2, final pay to Geosyntec for work order number 2, groundwater monitoring, reporting, and RAPM number 4, pre-injection investigation design at the South Gifford Road landfill.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Renewal number 4 with Tiger Inc.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. I'll second that. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Final pay to Geosyntec for work order number 3, Title 5, Air Operation Permit Revision Application.
Motion to approve. Okay.
Thank you. I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. And then 15B6, work order number 6 to Geosyntec for 1 year of groundwater monitoring, reporting at the former South Gifford Road landfill.
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. And with that, we will take a 5-minute recess. All right, are we ready?
Saying the same thing, like, yeah, looks like you didn't.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting back to order. Our next item is 15B5, recommendation for franchise award for solid waste and recyclables collection services. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. Himanshu Mehta, Managing Director of the Solid Waste Disposal District. So I want to start with my commitment to recycling. If you haven't seen it yet, right? Here it is.
He will be reporting to HR later.
All right, let's get started.
Thank you for doing that.
So today's purpose, Commissioners and the public, we want to update you on the procurement process to date. I want to share with you my love for recycling and my staff's commitment to recycling with some cart audit results that we've done since our last meeting. We want to share with you the best and final offer results that we've obtained and want to provide you a recommendation for award. Ultimately, one more big decision. We want the SWIT board to make a final selection between subscription, which was option number 3, and universal, which was option number 4 service. And then finally, to authorize staff to finalize a contract based on which option you select for this RFP. Services are to begin October 1, 2025. And again, to remind the Commissioners and the public, this contract does not affect our customer convenience centers. So procurement process to date, we started this early, and that was our intent. We wanted a window of opportunity, if you will, to go through this process in a methodical fashion, a transparent process. We recognizing that that this is an important contract and important service to our community. So we launched this in July of 2023. We requested proposals to be due February 21, 2024. We had a special call meeting on March 20th. I think that's where we had passed out 87,000 postcards to our residents. We held a second special call meeting on April 24th. This is where the SWIT board selected option number 3 and 4, which is with carted yard waste. And you authorized us, the negotiation committee, to enter a best and final offer with the top 2 ranked firms. We initiated the process between May 1st and May 10th, and we're here today to share those results with you and a recommendation of award. So talking about recycling and our love for recycling here, you know, what we look for is a perfect cart, and on your picture right now, that's what you see. What we like to see is a beautiful recycling cart full of recyclables. This is not a perfect cart. And unfortunately, that's what we've been seeing in different parts of our community. So what does an imperfect cart do? It's bad for the environment. It's bad for our recycling program. We spend a lot of our residents' funds, if you will, to run our recycling program. We collect all the recycling materials. We transport them to St. Lucie County, and then St. Lucie County processes all those materials. They create bales of cardboard and aluminum and plastics and sending it out to manufacturers to recycle these materials. And when we have the abuse of the program, where folks are using recycling carts for garbage service, it's, again, really bad for the environment. It's bad for our recycling program. I got a little short clip here of what, is there any audio?
It's 100% garbage, all garbage, all garbage.
So we did a recycling cart audit. And again, since last month, staff, Sue, Jill, Ron, Antoine, they went out and we focused on subscription areas and universal areas. So roughly about 300, if you will, number of carts. And the map kind of shows you the recycling sort of routes Monday through Friday, if you will, in our community. And so they made a concerted effort to go to these areas. And as the data shows, when we look at subscription areas, those areas where residents are choosing to have garbage service, that's where we're finding the utmost abuse, where we see 20% of the residents, or these carts, if you will, are using them purely for garbage. Well, we see the opposite in universal areas like the town of Indian River Shores, City of Vero Beach, City of Sebastian. These communities have universal service. Everybody has access to garbage collection right at the front of their house. In those communities, we did see some in City of Vero Beach, some in City of Sebastian. Again, the percentage is about 3% out of our little sample size. So again, a lot of effort these last month to go out and audit 600 carts in our community and to bring you these results. Going and tagging carts, looking in carts. There were part of these carts. There were some wish cyclers out there, folks that may feel like they're doing the right thing, but maybe they put something in there that we currently find that is not recyclable or our processor will no longer take. So again, I wanted to share that result with you, and that's why, as you'll see later on, we're a strong proponent of maintaining good recycling service in our community and progressing toward universal collection. I'm going to switch over to the procurement outcomes to date. I strongly feel that we've done a sound procurement process. We had strong competition. 5 responses proposers participated with our process. We ranked top 2 ranked highly qualified vendors. They do this day in and day out. So we've got 2 vendors that are highly qualified to do this service. And what we've uncovered and our consultants have indicated that final pricing has resulted in increases below recent industry averages. In the last 3 years, what's been happening throughout the state, throughout the country, everything is going up in prices, including garbage collection service. What we're seeing is we are seeing an increase, but it's sort of a below recent increases in other places. So the best and final offer process. The negotiation committee convened on May 1st. Purchasing managers submitted the best and final request that was due by May, or they issued the request on May 3rd. They had 1 week to submit. The request was sent only to the 2 top ranked proposers, and we only requested pricing for options number 3 and 4. There was a couple of other requirements of that. There was no obligation for them to submit pricing. One of the other requirements was that basically to use the same spreadsheet that they originally used, and they had the ability to decrease price for any of the items on that spreadsheet, but they were not allowed to increase. What we didn't want is to decrease residential and increase commercial. So they could lower their price, otherwise that price had to stay the same. And I'll share some of that data with you in a little bit. Both proposers accepted the opportunity and they submitted pricing. So because of that, we did not continue on, even though the board directed us, if we were not successful with the top 2 and getting better pricing, that we were to continue on. We felt that, as you'll see here, we obtained some great savings for our residents. Pricing, was evaluated per RFP scoring requirements. If you recall, originally we had 45 points, allotted to the person with the lowest price, the vendor with the lowest price. We did the same thing in here. The vendor with the lowest price got 45 points. The other second price company was proportionate to that. And then that scoring was added to the technical scores, the original technical scores, and it resulted in the top 2 firms re-ranked, resulting in Waste Management in number 1 and FCC in number 2. So the price results. For top is option 3, bottom part is option 4. Option number 3, again, is subscription with carded yard waste. I have first basically a broken down of annual residential, annual commercial, annual supplemental. The original pricing from FCC was about $24.6 million. They've reduced that by around $100,000 to $24.5 million. So a little bit of a decrease, and they did that in the commercial category. Waste Management, on the other hand, they had a total price originally of $32.7 million. They provided a reduction of $11.4 million, so almost 35% reduction, to a total annual price of $21.3 million. They predominantly reduced the residential price, which you see here, almost less than negative 47%. On the other side, on the universal carded options, similarly, they had the opportunity to adjust their score, lower their pricing for any of the categories. We see that here, in this case, FCC reduced their original pricing by a little over $400,000. They went from $22.7 million down to $22.3 million, a negative 1.8% decrease there. Again, they allotted that both to residential and commercial decreases. Waste Management, again, continued to show a reduction. They went from $24.6 million to $20.5 million for universal carded yard waste, about a $4.1 million reduction, or comes out about negative almost 16.7% decrease. Again, they predominantly decreased it in the residential category. Narrowing it down to a single-family home. On the right-hand side of this slide, you'll see our current customer rates. It's $11.16 a month for subscription service right now, and $2.94, which is applied on the annual assessment basis, but a total monthly cost about $14.10. When you compare that, again, both FCC, their original price, total price was $25.36. They did not provide a reduction on residential, and they maintained their price of $25.36 per month. Waste Management went from their original price of $37.53 down to $18.65. So almost a 50% decrease in their price. So they reduced it by $18.88. When comparing it to the 23-24 rates, FCC's original proposal was about 80% higher than our current rates. Waste Management originally was 166% higher, but in this case now their final pricing is 32% higher than where we are currently. So on an annual basis, the lowest price by WM results in a subscription solid waste collection cost increase by 22%. So it's the $133.92, that's the $11.16, going up to $163.80. Again, that would be the $13.65. Similarly, the recycling collection cost increases by 70% for WM, or from $35.28 to $60 for all single-family residents in Indian River County. So that applies to, again, all the municipalities as well as the unincorporated areas of Indian River County. Now I'm going to switch over to universal carded yard waste. Again, the current subscription rates are on the right. They don't change. When we look at FCC, their original universal carded yard waste was $23.21. They did provide a 1.6% decrease, or by 37 cents, down to $22.84 per month. Waste Management, who was originally $25.08, provided a reduction by $6.48 to a total monthly cost of $18.60, so about a 25.8% decrease. When we compare that to, again, the current rates, FCC originally was 65% higher than the current rate. With their reduction, they're still about 62% higher. Waste Management was 78% higher in their original proposal. Now we're about 32% higher. So on an annual basis, again, the lowest price by WM results in universal solid waste collection cost increase by 26%, or from $133.92 to $168.24. Similarly, the recycling collection cost increases, in this case, by 56%, or from $35.28 to $54.96 for all single-family residents in Indian River County. Just quickly wanted to show you some commercial comparisons and some supplemental services comparisons. Both companies, when it came down to majority of the commercial services, Waste Management did not provide any reduction in their commercial cost from their original pricing. FCC did reduce their compaction rates by $100,000. Again, I mentioned to you commercial is where they lowered their pricing. And again, commercial pricing applied both for subscription or universal. That did not change. So in this case, when it came to commercial service, we did see about a $100,000 reduction by FCC and a $0 or 0% reduction from Waste Management. I do want to point out that, there were no, again, reductions by FCC, and no reductions, or some reductions by FCC, no reduction by WM, but WM is 22% higher than FCC on commercial costs. So when you look at the total cost, the final price is 6.6 versus the 8.1 million. That's about Waste Management is 22% higher. When we look at the supplemental comparisons, both entities decided not to change their original pricing, so that remained the same. However, Waste Management is 46% higher than FCC on these supplemental costs. So solid waste staff input on policy decisions. Again, besides just kind of painting the head, and I thank my fiance for that effort. I certainly can't paint on the back of my head, but my passion for recycling, the audit results that I showed you, I wholeheartedly believe that we are at a time and stage that we have to protect our recyclables. We're investing in our recycling. Our staff goes out to schools, to public events. I mean, we have locked recycling carts at our parks and beaches. I mean, we as a county are moving wholeheartedly in terms of putting recycling first. And we're known in the state of Florida. I mean, the Florida DEP recognizes some of the innovations that we have taken in Indian River County. And so I strongly feel that, it's about time that we switch to universal collection and provide a basic garbage collection for all residents in Indian River County. This is about, when you look at it on an annual basis, it's an $800,000 savings on an annual basis. If you multiply that times a potential 10-year contract, our residents would be paying $8 million less over a 10-year period by us switching to universal. So there's an environmental benefit, a financial benefit. Again, it'll provide a uniform service to all residents. I do believe it's going to result in cleaner recycling and reduce the use of recycling carts for garbage. It should also discourage illegal dumping and in some places burning of garbage. I do recognize, we've had several meetings here. There's public has spoken about the impact of universal on their livelihoods, the ability to afford or not afford this on their tax bill. And I do recognize that. And so one of the things I have done is I've talked to our community development department, community services folks, and we have programs in place that the county offers right now to low-income, fixed-income residents. There are programs in place. I'm not looking to reinvent the wheel, but if the board and the county administrator wanted to direct us, we could look at the similar program that's existing now to maybe offer assistance through the solid waste division. I'm not looking to add more staff or create another program under solid waste. Let's utilize the programs the county has, if the board would like to do that, and provide assistance to those folks that may not be able to afford garbage collection service on their tax bill. And I just, right now, I don't have all the data for you, but it was just something to, if you like, we could explore further with the other departments and come back to you at a future date. But I also wanted to mention that I do recognize that what I'm asking is going to be a financial impact to some residents in our community. Finally, as staff, before we open it up to the commission and the public, again, we do recommend universal collection for unincorporated Indian River County. And I didn't really go into this, but with the caveat that multifamily collection remain as commercial collection service. I'll briefly pause there to just describe it in this way. After looking at this entire process, what we did, my original intent was, it was also to put multifamily complexes on universal service. And so we obtained pricing for multifamily basically as commercial service, which is what's done now, and also as universal service. What I've determined in analyzing the financial numbers is that if multifamily was to switch to universal, it certainly would make it easier for the hauler in terms of billing and whatnot, but the multifamily residents would have been paying, dramatically more. 2 to 3 times more than what they would be paying with the new commercial pricing. And so for that reason, I feel that we need to maintain multifamily as is right now, commercial service. The communities themselves would continue to work with the hauler, and there would be direct billing between the hauler and the community. So at this time, it's after public discussion, public input, the decision that we can come back to is, as first is subscription service or universal collection service.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions of staff or comments? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Camacho, great presentation. As you know, I had some grave concerns regarding universal as opposed to subscription service. I think to the applicant, I'd like to know where they got their pencil sharpener. It most certainly could be well used during budget season as we're approaching. So John might be looking for that pencil sharpener. It was definitely an eye-opener, game changer for me in my perspective. My grave concern was focused in on the senior community that may not be able to afford it, or the underserved community that may not be able to afford an increase, and it most certainly would reflect back to the property owner. So if there was renters, their price to live was going to go up, and we're looking at affordability, not burdening. But with that, I appreciate your exploring the other through possibly SHIP, other mechanisms if there was a need. But I'm happy to report that most of the seniors that I was speaking with already live in gated communities, 55 and over communities, and they have been enjoying universal service the past 25 plus years. So they're not impacted, but the standalones are, those who live within the community that choose to do that as opposed to a senior community. I do feel the concern about the contamination rate, and the option is we build a MRF and then we have to deal with it, and that would be far costly. With the arrangement and being able to deal with St. Lucie and do it right, even though there's a diminished cost in recycling, I stand very strongly with the recycling, as you know. I did do a little look myself as well, and yes, there is quite a bit of contamination. The numbers were far less just a couple of years ago. It has increased exponentially with the economy.
Sure.
So I want to thank you for going through the entire process and having our applicants give their best and final pricing and offer to us. But and I also wanted to thank the applicants. Definitely dug deep. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And yes, Commissioner Ehrman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I too, like my fellow commissioner, Commissioner Fleischer, had some reservations about this from the very beginning because it was all, I thought when we first started this process that the universal was the way to go because we thought the subscription rates would be out of sight and it would be best to go for that. Well, they didn't come back that way, like I said at the last meeting when we talked about this. But since then, I've talked to staff, talked to other folks, talked to people around the community, looked at this, evaluated it for the same reasons that Commissioner Fleischer just stated, so I don't need to repeat them. But I am a big proponent of recycling. I've made it known that I would like to see us in the future look at doing our own recycling, whether it's through a contractor or somebody that wants to put a building out there, or is this something that we can do do ourselves. I think we need to look at that because when this is all said and done, when we all are at home or we're at our business or wherever we are, we throw our garbage in the can, it gets taken out to the road, it comes picked up, we forget all about it. Everywhere I speak, when the issue of garbage comes up, my response is, garbage is a pretty damn big deal. That's what I tell them, those exact words I use, because once the garbage is taken from your house and you forget about it and it's out at the landfill, we've got to manage that landfill. We've got to follow all the rules and regulations. We've got to do so many things. So the fact that the contamination is up, I think is very important that we take a hard look at this. But the bottom line said in all this is the numbers came back that just floored me. So Hamachi, I want to thank you for your work, you and Sean, and I want to thank everybody else, your staff and everybody else that did this. And again, like Commissioner Fleischer, thank everybody for participating in the process. But I'm not so sure there's too many options left. So I think we're good to go. So with that said, Madam Chairman, that's all I have to say.
All right, Commissioner Moss?
Yes, I have a question. I know that we are in this, and thank you, by the way, for going into all this detail and all the hard work by yourself and your team on this. I know that we've been partnering with Indian River Shores, but would any of the cities be able to piggyback on this contract, whatever it turns out to be? And I don't know if that's a question for you or a question for the administrator.
I'll just briefly say that we have included a sample agreement, in the original RFP that was issued, and sort of there were little updates throughout the process. But our sample agreement does include a piggyback clause. We have that in our current agreement now. We've enhanced it in this new agreement. And so it's available to any municipality that's in our recycling franchise area, which includes all 5 municipalities. So basically, the hauler shall provide the solid waste collection services at the same terms and conditions as our RFP to any municipality that would like to obtain that. If there's a service, again, it would be a standalone agreement between the municipality and the hauler. We are not party to it. They could piggyback. If they want to deviate a little bit, Indian River Shores, they've made a lot of changes in the last few years to align themselves with the same level of service that we have, but other municipalities may have other needs. So there's only 3 sentences in that paragraph. The second one basically allows the municipality that's in our recycling franchise area to enter into a separate agreement with the hauler and basically negotiate for any change in service that they may want. So again, they have economies of scale to be able to use the same hauler that's going to be going in through their community to pick up recycling. They could get some garbage or yard waste or bulk waste services, but they would have the ability to maybe, for example, Orchid, they currently don't have yard waste collection. They could work with the hauler and say, we want to piggyback, but we don't want to have yard waste collection because our community doesn't need it. That would be a separate agreement, separate discussion between the 2 parties. And again, finally, we are not part of the agreement. That's pretty much the final sentence in that. So it is available. I think I do have a backup slide. I think I provided an extra slide to all of you. It does compare what our new rates are going to be to our municipal partners in Indian River County, if you wanted to look at that in more detail. But again, that's where we are with our piggyback clause.
Okay, so it's not something that we need to vote on.
It's part of our agreement,
okay.
right?
So it's part of the agreement that it's piggyback, okay. I got this email just this morning, and maybe some of my colleagues did too. It was at 8:15 a.m. This is from a constituent, and it sums up very well what I've heard from others and what I think myself. And it's only a couple of sentences, so I'll read it. I have 1 little grocery bag of garbage every week that I take to the dump once a month. I'm elderly. My homeowner's insurance went up by $1,500 this year. Just 3 years ago, I was only paying $1,000 a year. I'm now paying over $4,000 a year. My grocery bill has doubled. Because of this inflation we are dealing with, I cannot have any more expenses, even if it is only $12 a month. Please keep it as a subscription service. It's not paradise anymore when we can't afford to live here. And this reflects, it just actually summed up everything that I was thinking, so thank you to the person who sent that this morning. But I am very much concerned that on top of all these other things that this person outlined, that we'll be adding this, you know, you've done a great job negotiating. But still, if someone, you know, someone is not a subscriber and using our convenience centers, which will remain open, and you know, there's no change in availability of that, you know, it's a huge dollar cost. And there'll be other considerations in the future. We know we'll have to discuss some of the other services that we provide. It's not just, this is not the only service that we'll have to revisit and review. So from my standpoint, you know, I'm still in favor of offering the subscription. I understand what you're saying about contamination, you know, that it's an issue, but I think what you do is you hold those people accountable, you punish the people who are violating whatever the requirements are. You don't punish everyone by going from subscription to universal. That's, from my way of thinking, that's punishing everyone. You punish the people who are not obeying the regulations or law, if you will. And I appreciate that you've taken the time to think about you know, how these people would survive within a universal context by mentioning you know, SHIP or some assistance.
Sure.
But to my knowledge, when and assistance like that is available from different sources, but to my knowledge, that assistance is temporary. So it's helpful, worthwhile, but it's temporary assistance. It's not that you're going to, you know, pick up their tab for universal for you know, an extended period of time, shall we say. So thank you.
All right, Commissioner Ehrman?
I need to ask, going back to the piggyback thing real quick, I just have a couple of quick questions.
Sure.
Because, I mean, I know it's probably no secret, it's been brought up that these rates, that if we decided to go with the universal and use, and go with the lowest bidder, that the rates are cheaper than what, of course, the city of Sebastian is paying right now. My question is for you, Bill, is, does this affect it in any way? Can they join in, or is it something they have to do separately, or, you know, how
Yes, this would be an agreement between whatever municipality and Waste Management or FCC. It would not involve the county at all. Just like we piggyback off of state contracts to purchase vehicles, just like we piggyback off of other contracts that have this same sort of clause, we would be negotiating in that situation with the entity. Here, in this situation, if any municipality wants to join in, they would approach whatever contractor and negotiate with them. We would not be involved in any negotiations whatsoever.
So they would be between them and the carrier?
Absolutely.
Okay, as to what they want to do. Okay, all right.
I appreciate you bringing that up there. As you know, I'm in Sebastian, and my trash is valued at $5 more a period than anybody else's in the county. So I do appreciate you bringing that up, and I trust that the Sebastian Council will be bringing that up as well. I hope. I'm well represented.
All right, Commissioners, any other questions at this time?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Going back to the last discussion, I made it pretty clear that I was for universal. Reading something over the weekend where inflation last month went down a tick. Now remember, this relationship, this contract that we're going to continue on is 17 months away. So we have to keep that in mind. Who knows what's going to happen in 17 months? Let's hope groceries go down. Let's hope fuel prices go down. But sticking with the theme from our last meeting, this goes back to the next 11 and a half years of this county, the decision that we're making. Obviously, I'm for universal, not only to mention it could have an impact on our lagoon. Obviously, illegal dumping, like Amachu's already talked about. I think recently we all received an email about feral cats and other wildlife running around, not to mention the burning that we see in certain areas. So with that, I understand the concern, Commissioner Moss, about subscription, but we have to move today and make a decision. So that's where I'm at.
All right, I appreciate that. Yes, Commissioner Fisher.
Commissioner Law just brought up, and the burning, I want you to know that in the agricultural lands, in the more urban environment, there are some that choose to burn their trash, which is allowable, but not at the current standards because we have a burn ban. So with a burn ban, which happens each and every year during our drought season, our dry season, we do get a month or two of a burn ban, sometimes even longer. If I recall, a couple of years, it was a couple of months. What would they do with their trash? So then those who choose to do that could no longer do that, so they're traveling to convenience centers, or they're throwing on the carbon footprint, or they're looking for a pickup as well. So again, and they would probably just put their stuff in recycling, like you said, okay? I just want to bring it up when you mentioned the burning of the trash. It is allowable under certain conditions.
And not to mention that universal could have an impact on the calls for service for our code enforcement.
Yes.
And that would be good because we know they're already strapped.
All right, any other comments from commissioners? If not, at this time, anybody from the public wish to comment? Please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Rob Cansamilli. I'm with FCC Environmental Services. And I just wanted to express that we feel that the integrity of this RFP process has been violated. While there are several items, the main items that we consider are an unfair competition was created when all of the technical and financial information from all firms was released prior to the finalization of this process. At no time were any negotiations or discussions held with either of the firms during the BAFO process as the board had directed. With the severe decrease in pricing, there was no confirmation, analysis, or regard to the resources that the company would be providing. And that there was very little to no regard for the commercial customers, which would receive nearly double their rate under this current agreement. And so for that, we request that the board holds this decision and acts in either one of two ways: either cancel the RFP and start fresh. There's plenty of time for that process to occur with the start date of October 1, 2025, or open the BAFO to all of the firms if financial conclusion is the priority of the commission. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else?
Julianne Price, Health Department, 1900 27th Street, Fair Beach. To Commissioner Lohr's point on code enforcement, I also wanted to bring up the Health Department. We get quite a bit of complaints about garbage and dumping and sanitary nuisances, so certainly universal service could reduce that, save us time and possibly expenses. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Welcome.
Welcome. I don't know if it's morning, afternoon, but I want to say good afternoon. I don't know which one it is at the moment. Okay, first of all, let me say my name. My name is Bill Rigby. I live at 8465 59th Avenue, Vero Beach, Florida, which is known as Wabasso, but they say Vero Beach. I'm going to say Wabasso. Well, here's what I would like to some clarity on. And the clarity is on, I said that, you say that it's a 5-year contract, right? 10-year contract? If it's a 10-year contract, and you says that they changed the prices, and I'm confused a little bit here. I read a little bit last night and this morning. I'm confused because I might be talking out of character, but I'm going to say what I can say, what I know of. Okay, if waste management and you have FCC, and then you're saying that, my understanding, okay, waste management, saying that waste management is the lowest bidder on certain, I think on the household. And if waste management is the lowest bidder, then you got FCC. My question is that if you have that price and waste management is lower, so what if they're going to increase that price for us because it's an RFP? What would that price be if you're going to increase that price? Let's say like waste management bid at like $18 per se, and they bid it at $18. Okay, since they lower bid, okay, let's say 2 years from a year and a half from now, they decide to increase. If it's going on the tax roll, what would that price be?
Commissioners, part of our agreement that we have now and in the future agreement, there's a consumer price index adjustment that the hauler can ask annually. It's a request that they can make. We typically, I bring those requests to the commissioners annually. We get board approval on that request, and so the same process is going to continue. It's not an automatic increase. It's something that they can request. We can, in some cases, we've denied it. I think during COVID times when things were tough, we denied the increase. So it's the same process that we have been doing for the last 9+ years. It would continue on with the new agreement.
I understand that. Now, here's my second question. You ever heard of a thing called the commerce clause? COMMERCECLAUSE. Ever heard of a thing called a commerce clause?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, and with the commerce clause, it says this. I lost it on my phone, but let me put it in a nutshell. The commerce clause is that when you're doing something that, my understanding now, if you correct me correctly, you're the attorney. The commerce clause is that if you're doing something with something, that means that everything has to be sort of inclusive and including everybody. And when you're having that commerce clause, it's that you have FCC, you have waste management, and you have, I guess, other haulers that's out there that's doing business. Plus, when you have that commerce clause, you have nothing in there that is inclusive of minorities. And I know a lot of people do not believe in the DEI. They don't believe in that, but the county has had contracts for years, and when they need contracts, now you're going to what we call, I'm going to use the word, I say mandatory, but Mr. Hamacho, he says that universal, and then you got the subscribers can come in. I'm asking the question, okay, with all of that, how is that inclusive with the urban areas?
The Commerce Clause of the Constitution prohibits a state from passing a law that would affect interstate commerce. Here, we're not dealing with any type of interstate commerce. We aren't dealing with Georgia, we aren't dealing with Alabama or anything else like that. So Commerce Clause would not apply in this situation.
Okay, you correct me on that. And I have my last thing and I'm done. Okay, with that, I'm saying this, that I have no ill feeling against Waste Management. I think they're a great company. I have no ill feelings. I don't know anything about FCC, no more than I saw them in Port St. Lucie. But I'm going to say this. I say what we need to do now is that since you're going universal on this, I'm going to kind of agree with FCC, the guy that just spoke a few minutes ago. I'm going to kind of incline with him that I think that with this contract, I think that it needs to be revisited, because I looked at it, I didn't see the spreadsheet on how the evaluation was initiated to come up with that, with your 45 points, your 10 points, or whatever. I didn't see that, but I would get with Mr. Monchu on that, because I need to look at the spreadsheet on how you're saying you're going to award the bid. But I'm going to say this, you need to be inclusive with other haulers, and I think you need to go back and look at this RFP again.
I am Myra Ferguson with Gifford Economic Development Council. My question is this, very simply. I heard the individual from FCC. I also received this about 11 o'clock at night about this coming up with the county commission. And my question is very simple. I feel like there was a violation here, because if those bids were released before the contract was received, that we need to go back and look at this RFP, because it is not as clear as it should be. And even though there was a second time that they went back and they lowered their numbers or lowered their amounts, it's still not a fair process. It's not a fair process. And also, I'm wondering if that RFP will hold water now, because all these numbers have been already given out before that we came to the table now. And we have to October 1st of 2025. I think it needs to be rebid. I really do, and give everyone a fair opportunity to bid on this contract, because I don't think it's inclusive. I think it's designed not to include all haulers. And it's starting to look like waste management is a monopoly, and the government does not call for that. We need to really take a good look at this RFP. And I got this thing 11 o'clock last night, and I'm here today because I'm concerned.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Commissioners, additional comments, questions, or concerns?
Chairman, I move option 4.
Option 4, which is
Universal.
staff recommendation? Okay. All right. We have a motion by Commissioner Lohr with a second by Commissioner Flesher. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed, nay.
Motion carries 4-1 with Commissioner Moss dissenting. All right, Commissioners, that wraps up our agenda for today.
Oh, tell us there's more.
I've got a couple more.
Oh, I'm sorry, you have more. Oh, darn it. I mean, thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for the support for Universal Collection. I'm very excited about this historic day in Indian River County. So my next recommendation is that the board award the solid waste and recycling collection franchise to Waste Management, Inc. of Florida as the proposer that ranked in the top 2 and that has subsequently submitted the lowest, best, and final offer for RFP number 2024-020.
Oh, okay. I thought that was all included. I'm sorry. I see we're breaking it out. All right. Thank you for keeping me on track. All right, Commissioners, any comments on that?
I'm sorry, can you tell me what page that's on?
We're on the last page of the presentation of 14, not the last.
And Chairman, if you'd like to add.
Oh, you're in the agenda packet.
If you'd like to add item 3 with that, along with that motion, would be to authorize staff to finalize the sample agreement, negotiate as necessary for legal and technical sufficiency, and to return with a final agreement for SWID board approval at a future meeting.
Okay. Did you want to include that in the, okay, I'm so sorry.
So seconded.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Lohr with a second by Commissioner Flesher to recommend the award to Waste Management and authorize staff to finalize the sample agreement and return with the final agreement. Any questions, comments, or concerns on that? All right, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Anything else?
That's it.
I'm safe now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, meeting adjourned.